And we're staying in Southern Africa, where the Citizens Coalition for Change's Youth Task Force in Bulawayo has threatened street protests if urgent electoral reforms are not implemented. This follows CCC legislators being thrown out of Parliament after they broke into song protesting the swearing in of their recently elected colleagues. The Speaker of the National Assembly, Jacob Mudenda, also sanctioned CCC members of Parliament for the next 4 sittings and ordered that they check out of their hotels. Meanwhile, President Emerson Mnangagwa's spokesperson, George Charamba, has warned the CCC, led by Nelson Chamisa, against mass action to force ZANU-PF to the negotiating table, saying such a move will have dire consequences for the party and its leader. Bruce Moyo, Ward Councillor, joins me now from Bulawayo, Zimbabwe, to unpack the situation that's been happening there. Bruce, welcome to News Central Now. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, ma'am.
So let's look at the reasons behind the decision to stage a protest on the streets rather than using, some would say, other channels to voice your frustrations with the current situation. So why are we talking, or why are we looking at having Zimbabweans hit the streets to protest the situation that's happening within the assembly and within the parliament?
Well, thank you so much for the opportunity. Well, as you know, that the Citizens Coalition for Change, led by President Advocate Nelson Chamisa, we are a democratic party. And we believe that we need to use democratic means to attain power. And in that instance, we believe that the only way to attain power is through the means of the ballot. But listen, historically, Zimbabwe has been merged with contested elections. We are now having elections without the vote. And if the government of Zimbabwe has failed to respect the will of the people, you have failed to respect the values of democracy, you have failed to respect and also protect what our forefathers fought for during the liberation struggle, which is one man, one vote, we resort to other options, which are also inscribed in our Constitution of Zimbabwe to make sure that we hold the government into account. So we have chosen the streets to be the avenue of our struggle. Why? Because our offices have failed to address this. Our courts have failed to address this. The Parliament of Zimbabwe, as you have seen the events that inspired yesterday, where our members of Parliament were forcefully removed from Parliament by police officers. So it means that Zimbabwe has no more space for dialogue. The avenues that we thought that they can maybe uplift and uphold our issue as the Citizens Coalition for Change, they feel that the judiciary system is captured, the courts are captured, the Parliament are captured, the police are captured. So the only way, the only option that is left to us is in our disposal are the people. So we believe that the streets, which is governed by the people, is the only court that will deliver justice to the people of Zimbabwe, because we need a permanent solution to this crisis. Our people have been suffering for a long time, and the government of Zimbabwe is turning a blind eye to these issues. So we have chosen streets to become the avenues of our revolution. Remember, this is not new in the history of Zimbabwe. In the political industry in Zimbabwe, this is not new. When our forefathers rescued this country, they went to the streets because they failed also to have other avenues, whereby by then the government of Smith would give them an ear to understand the challenges that they were facing by then. So we are at that stage.
So Bruce,
why? Because we have failed to. We need to make sure that we rescue and save the future of the future generation and the current generation.
So Bruce, I need to ask about that, because you've mentioned that protests like these, or the ones that you guys are calling for, are not new in the history of Zimbabwe. But what also is not new is often the response, a very heavy-handed, sometimes violent response from governments, the army being previously unleashed on the citizens. So do you think people will come out to support this protest, given the fact that there is a history of violence happening, being mitigated on the people by agents of state? And is this something that you're concerned about? Or is this such a big issue that people are willing to overlook the potential for violence?
Thank you so much. Well, first and foremost, my sister, there's no struggle without bruises. There's no struggle without sacrifices. And also, remember, this movement, it was formed, and this government is driven by the people. So the decision that we have taken as the Youth Task Force of the alternative, it is the decision that is coming from the people. It is backed by the people. It is the people who are leading this demonstration. So we are coming to say that we know that We are dealing with a regime that is ruthless, that doesn't believe in the rule of law, that doesn't believe in the forces of the majority. And we know the sacrifices and we know the consequences thereafter. But listen, we are willing and we are ready to surrender ourselves before we surrender this trap. Why? Because our people have suffered for so long. In Zimbabwe, nothing is working, everything is dead. So if we keep quiet as a generation, then we risk to lose the now and the future, and it won't make any justice to our young brothers and sisters who are growing up. We can't let this thing die, and we can't let this regime kill the future of this country. So we have taken a sacrifice, and it's a decisive decision that is backed by the will of the people, that is backed by the energy, and the direction is being given by the people. So we're ready to get into there, and we believe that this time we are going to achieve what we are looking for.
Right,
what
Bruce,
we are fighting for is not a personal fight, but it's a fight for the people.
All right, Bruce, unfortunately, because of time, I'm going to need this answer in just about 30 seconds. So what we do know and what we're hearing is that the interim Secretary General of the Citizens Coalition for Change is still planning to do more recalls. That seems to be the general understanding on the streets and in the wires as well. In 30 seconds, what's your response to that, to the potential of how this might affect the situation?
Thank you. Number one, Super C is no interim Secretary General. We don't have that position. That guy, we don't know him and we don't recognize him. Number two, this is not Sengezo Chabang, but it's ZANU-PF who's trying to oppress still and oppress the will and the victory of the people. We know that we won the 2023 elections, but they're trying by all means to steal and kill the will and the future of this country. So we are not going to allow it, and we are going to ensure that with all means necessary and unnecessary, we deliver justice to the people in the only avenue are the streets. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Bruce Moyo. We'll be following this situation very closely and seeing how things develop out of Zimbabwe. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.